Hey everybody, my name is Brandon from thestocktunes.com, and today I want to talk about MicroVision Stock, ticker symbol MVIS. What I'm going to do first is go into Google and talk about the background of MicroVision, and then I'm going to go into the earnings report to talk about how MicroVision is doing as a business, and then we'll go into the trading charts to see if there's a level or two to buy MicroVision if we want to buy MicroVision. So now let's get started. Here we are on Google, and here's a one-day look at MicroVision's trading charts here, the company that makes Lidar technology products. We can see that MicroVision has had a pretty nice day, up about 20% in the regular session, and that's obviously a pretty good thing. Honestly, that is pretty impressive. However, if we look at the 1 month view here, we see that we are still down around 30%. And obviously, that's not really too desirable. So during this video, I think you will see this theme often, the theme where there are some good things going from MicroVision, but that is kind of balanced out with some bad things going from MicroVision as well. So for example, if we take a look at some of the news down here, we see that a lot of investors are kind of mixed on their viewpoints for MicroVision. We see that there are some definitely bearish articles like this one here from Seeking Alpha, which we'll talk about, and obviously some bullish articles here as well from Investor Place and this CNA Finance here. So from all this, the question to ask here is really, why are people so divided on MicroVision? Why are people looking at the same stock and coming to vastly different conclusions? Because there's kind of a bull case article here, like this one from Investor Place, and a bear case article like this one from Seeking Alpha, let's first start off by discussing the bull case for MicroVision by going into this Investor Place article here. So first off, the main bull case for MicroVision is what their business is. Again, MicroVision's whole business is really Lidar technologies, which stands for light detection and range imaging, is a way that computers and technologies can see the world around us. This technology is critical for our new innovative economy. Lidar can be used in self-driving cars, archaeology and geographical survey data, and augmented reality applications. All of these fields are hot and growing fields that will likely continue to stay hot for years to come. MicroVision's main strategy is to push new products into the market with the potential and hope to gain market share. And it looks like they're loaded up to release a new line of products according to the same Investor Place article. And that is definitely something I like to see in a stock. Again, Lidar is the biggest part of MicroVision's bull case, besides the obvious short squeeze potential, with a pretty high 31% of shares sold short at the moment. Even though Lidar is a bull case for MicroVision, as an investor you also have to consider the bear case for Lidar as well if you're going to state Lidar as a bull case. Really, the one big bulging bear case for Lidar technologies is cost. Even though it is an incredibly powerful technology that can be used for a lot of operations and applications, it is also pretty expensive. As this Forbes article quotes from some guy called Elon Musk, we see that Musk had avoided Lidar technology in the past because it would have added an immense cost to each Tesla car. Because of that, he instead chose some other technology. But the main point that I want to make right now is that yes, Lidar is still a little bit expensive right now, but it is getting much cheaper. As time goes on, as technologies improve, technologies always get cheaper as well, and Lidar is falling in price. So for me, that's the main bear case that I see from the Lidar point of view right now. And it is definitely one that should be considered if someone wants to invest in MicroVision. But another thing that is a little bit concerning and that we should talk about is MicroVision's valuation and fundamentals, which was talked about in the Seeking Alpha article here. Basically, at the moment, MicroVision is trading at a cool 400 times multiple of price to sales, not earnings, sales. So by any measure, if you're talking about a valuation of a company, that is pretty expensive. But again, valuation is not the only thing that the bears are talking about. Another bear case against MicroVision is their fundamentals, which we'll look at right now. So here we are in MicroVision's most recent earnings report, and as always, I'm going to mainly focus on the statement of operations. The reason for this is because the statement of operations really gives me an insight on how efficient the business is going. We can see that last year in 2020, MicroVision kind of had a little bit of a shaky year compared to 2019. We can see that total revenues year over year was really dropping from about $8,800,000 in 2019 to just a flat $3 million. And honestly, that's a pretty substantial drop. I mean, this is like over a 50% drop in revenues, and that is not really what I like to see if I'm looking to invest in a company. honestly, it's a little bit concerning and I'm not too sure why. I think if I was thinking about investing in MicroVision, finding out exactly why we're dropping revenues is the first thing that I would be investigating. Because like I said before, Lidar is a growing field, and because MicroVision is mainly hinged on Lidar technology, MicroVision should be growing as well. But the numbers year over year are definitely not saying that. That said, I want to bring particular attention to the profit margins for a business that is at the stage that MicroVision is in. We can see that by doing a little calculation with the total revenues here and this total cost of revenues here, we can see that in 2020, our profit margins is about 54% in 2020 compared to only about a 3% profit margin in 2019. And honestly, that is a very impressive increase in margins, and that's showing me that MicroVision is trying to work itself to be a more efficient business. We see that the main reason for that is mainly because of the increase in royalty and license revenues year over year. And obviously, it doesn't really cost a lot to charge people to use your intellectual property. But another thing I want to talk about is the margins on the actual product here. Last year in 2019, we were basically giving these guys away at a loss. We can see that our product revenue was lower than our cost of product revenue, which is this line on the earnings report here. What that means is that for everything we're selling, we're really losing money. But this year in 2020, we actually turned that around and actually became profitable on our core product. And that is something I definitely like to see as well because it's showing efficiency in the business. However, we are really just barely profitable here. So even though that is a good positive sign, it is something that I don't think I can really count on for the long term yet. I would like to see them maintain and improve margins on the core product for the future quarters. Lastly, I just want to take a look at the operating expenses here, which is this block on the earnings report. We can see that the total operating expenses are actually decreasing pretty nicely year over year. And that's a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. It's a good thing that they are conserving cash, but the bare side of the argument is that people may be thinking that because MicroVision is cutting costs, MicroVision is not growing. If we take a look here at the research and development spending here, we see that year over year, MicroVision has really taken an axe to research and development spending. We are dropping about 50% of our investment in that space. As always, not quite what I want to see, especially if we're cutting down our sales, general, and administrative spending by less than 50% year over year. Because research and development is really investing in your product and your business's future position, MicroVision is really gambling a bit here by cutting its expenses. I think MicroVision is really betting on these new product lineups to generate revenues that can be used to be pushed back into its business. However, the risk that an investor takes with MicroVision is that the new products may not take off, and therefore that new revenues may not show up in the next few quarters. So after talking about the fundamentals of MicroVision, let's head on over to the trading charts to see if there's a level or two to buy MicroVision if we want to buy MicroVision. So here we are in MicroVision's trading charts, and we can see that we've kind of been trading in a pretty large range around this $11 to $12 support level made from the bottoms of these two candles over here, and this resistance level around the $19 to $20 mark up here. We can see recently that we did break this $12 support level a couple times, once back in here during our inflation scare of early March, and another just a couple days ago where we settled down into the $10 support level around here. To me, this $9 to $10 support level is actually looking a bit strong to me because we did have the strong reversal from this level back in early March, and we also bounced from this level again just today, where we bounced strongly up about 20%. Also, if we look all the way back to December, this was actually the top of this candle over here. So this $10, $9 support level is the place where I would be first looking if I wanted to start a position in MicroVision. If I wanted to open any position in MicroVision, it would probably be a short-term trading position because this range between the $10 and this $19, $20-ish resistance level is absolutely ginormous. It's nearly 100% trading range. But again, MicroVision is quite a risky company at the moment. There are fundamental risks, most importantly the drop in revenues, and also valuation risks that investors need to consider if they are planning to do a buy and hold strategy with MicroVision. just to quickly cover the MACD and the RSI down here, we can see that both of these guys just turning a positive derivative here, meaning that there was an upward rebound and the slope of the line is now positive, and that's a bullish sign. That's indicating that the momentum of MicroVision is turning positive, which could mean that we could see some follow-through momentum boost in the stock. If this short-term momentum here, which is the blue line, crosses over the orange line here, which is the long-term momentum, then that would definitely be a bullish sign for the stock. So that was my review on MicroVision stock. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. If you have any questions or if you caught any mistakes, also drop me a comment down below. If you liked the video, please like the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.